I think so. We did play the jacks a little quieter when he had them.
I mean, it is the first pot that Glenn Helder has raised, or first or second anyway. So he must be aware that Helder's playing a little tighter.
He is, but he's also probably got Glenn down as the softest touch in the Dutch team, and I don't mean that to be taken up in the wrong way. I mean, obviously he's by far the least experienced.
18,000.
And is liable to
14 more to you.
make a bit of a
2 reds and
mistake.
2 blues. That's it.
No, that's the first one.
Marcel Lusk watching all this with interest, and that was enough to knock Noah Buchan out of the pot, which may have been another one of Connor's concerns.
Well, this is the last thing Marcel wanted to see, believe me, is Connor playing against Glenn. The diamonds may slow Connor down a little bit, probably not very much. He probably bet just to see doesn't want to be given any free diamonds here.
There's 40,000 in the pot.
I suppose if it's a raised pot and Glenn does have a diamond, it's liable to be a big one.
Check.
Is Helder
That's
capable
correct.
of bluffing? He is!
Minimum of 2,000 and then
Yeah,
anything
okay.
you like.
Well, he's reacted very quickly like this, but in his heat a couple of times, Jesse, and every time he did it, he had it absolutely sweet. I'm sure Connor would much prefer there was only 2 diamonds on the board. I can guarantee you that much. But I think he's going to take his chances with the queens here.
You can look all you want. Just place a bet or you go. Yeah. I have a girlfriend and I have a kid, so don't face me.
Called.
Connor calling in par. You have to imagine if the diamond doesn't come, that's when Tate's going to get busy.
I think if the diamond doesn't come, he'll slip this one to Glenn with a view to springing the trap.
Check.
The 9. The 9.
It's better, yeah.
But you know, Glenn has acted in this very fast manner before in his
Okay,
heat.
20,000.
Connor may show the benefits of having watched that. I think he preferred the 9 was sort of like the juice of clubs. Or even something that paired the board. But we very rarely see Connor get one of these wrong on TV. I don't think he's going to start today with that captain's armband on.
You talk about having guts. This is tough. Even if
It's tough for
everything
both
is screaming out for Connor that Glenn is bluffing. If the diamond comes!
Well, speaking of the juice of clubs.
I mean, really.
Check.
That was a huge sign for Northern Ireland. And will Helder back off?
Yes, it's to you now.
I think Marcel Lusk is about to throw up. Sorry, I think he already has.
Marcel, he looks like
13,000.
wax.
Well, at least Glenn has slowed it down a little bit.
Well, the bet's only 13,000.
Oh, yeah,
Call. Come again?
He doesn't know the game, so.
You want to call it? Oh, you have to bet now because I want to take that. Bet, come on. Bet.
Called. Okay, lads, can you turn them over for me, please?
Well, Connor Tate has made a great call,
I've got
Parg.
shit, man.
And, you know, as far as Glenn Helder's bluff went, if the diamond had come, you have to fancy he might have gotten away with it.
I'm pretty sure he would have gotten away with it against me. I think it was maybe the fact that Glenn bet that so quickly every time it was up to him. You know, Connor had been studying the semi-final quite closely. I think in between taking notes on the Norwegians, he may have watched that every time Glenn bet that he did it in a very, very fast manner.
I really thought you had to.
You know, you're way more likely to get a guy to bluff, especially an inexperienced player, to do it immediately rather than to think about it for 30 seconds and then bet. Not only if a guy thinks about it for 30 seconds and then bets, you start getting ready to unload.
How hard is this button working? Nobody wants to give an inch. Martin Smith all afire, and the footballers are doing everything that could possibly be asked of them. It's all to play for, a seat open in the semifinals.
No one to play with? There's always PartyPoker.com.
People like aces.
Still 6 players here, and it is Connor Tate and Marcel Lusk. with the chip
Call.
lead. Two team captains ahead for their countries.
And Noah's been known to show a liking for these suited connectors. And a lot of older players too.
Martin Smith just opened things up with a call. Ace-Jack offsuit, Parg. Is that a bit of a mid-decision?
Marty's probably just varying his game a little bit, Jesse. You know, if you do the same thing every time, sooner or later, unless you're playing against a bunch of cabbages, people are going to work out what's going on.
Not check or bike.
Check.
I was talking.
Marcel Lusk giving an English lesson to Norman Whiteside, which
6 to call.
shows what a good sense of humour Marcel Lusk has. Marcel Lusk was very unlucky not to get the part of the Godfather, in the Godfather. When if Brando hadn't been around, he was a certainty.
Parg, this is a pretty strong raise from the small blind for Whiteside. I mean, it's only 4,000 more, but pocket six is optimistic.
Well, he's just charging the limper's taxis.
Pass. Call.
He's probably figured that he's the only one here with a pair.
He's right.
Still a very tricky hand to play on the flop. You don't normally end up with an over pair, but, well, very close.
Well, Buchan has
Marty.
got something to play with, a pair and
Sorry.
a straight draw, but he's in third
Bet or
place
check.
right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can either bet or check.
Yeah. 4. Sorry.
4,000.
And a bet from Norman is going to make Marty Smith wonder what Norman raised with. I mean,
Call.
Well, interesting call, Parg. He's letting Buchan come in behind. I mean,
Called.
this may be a bit dangerous for Martin Smith not to raise here.
well, Marty Smith mightn't know where he's at here. You know, there's every chance that Norman has raised this with an
Bet or
ace-king
check.
or an ace-queen.
4 again.
4,000.
If Norman bet something like 14 here, 16, something like that, he'd have got through as it is. He's
Call.
given everybody a little bit of value.
Noah Buchan delighted to call as well. He needs a 3, 4, or 5. And he hit the straight.
Of course he is.
Okay, bet or check.
You're right, that.
No, it looks like the Irish team may have played into Noah's hands.
15,000.
Looks very much like that,
Well,
Parg.
15,000, and that's really the bet we wanted to see from Norman on the turn.
Pass.
And Marty Smith.
Re-raised.
Wow.
Well, it's an easy raise for Noah. It's impossible for him to be
25
behind
more.
here. Well,
That's it. Call.
Noah Buchan straight on the river,
Straight.
taking this pot. And Parg, Martin Smith might feel like he could have prevented
Straight
that.
takes with
But
the four.
Whiteside was doing the betting, and wow, it was a very strange pot tactically, wasn't it? How much are the doggies in the window? Second level over with the blinds 4 and 4,000. It is now Noah Buchan who has surged into second, and Connor Tate, of course, for Northern Ireland, still in front. But the Dutch players are making a very strong statement here.
To be a good player at poker, I think it takes a lot of patience. It takes some luck too, for sure, on the right time, because you could be on a bad run for a while and maybe never even get there to see how good you are. So if you just have faith in yourself, I think you can do it.
no, I'm sure Whiteside held a card or two in his days at Manchester United. I know Kevin Moran used to play a little bit of poker. You've seen him in some celebrity programs.
And it's free.
4,000 on the captain, wearing the red armband, Marcel. And
Raise.
what is this about, Parg? Just changing it up a little bit. 8-10 under the gun.
12,000 total.
Well, this is what makes Marcel such a difficult player to play against.
Pass.
It's
Pass.
he's quite capable of changing gears just about every hand.
Certainly is, and he's picked a fine time to do it. The blinds right now. Can't imagine Connor Tate playing that. The blinds right now are the two
Pass.
footballers.
Pass.
Ooh.
8,000 to call.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh,
Call.
wow.
Gold.
Norman Whiteside is trapping Marcel Lusk here, Parg.
Yeah, if an ace or a king doesn't come here to slow Marcel down, he could get himself into a bit of trouble, especially if he flops it.